There is a land where all possibility goes to die. And the entrance gate to this land has the words, "This is how I am," formed in wrought iron. Over the years, I've heard from my clients again and again, well, I would do it this way, but this is how I am. I would change things, but this is how I am. Well, it doesn't work real great, but this is how I am. This is how I am. Let's just look at a minute at this underlying assumption behind the statement, "This is how I am." How did you get this way? When did you become how you were right now? Were you born this way? Did you have some sort of law or rules that were put under you that gird up every moment of your life? For a long time, you peed into a diaper, and that's how you were. And then you didn't. For a long time, you were nervous about talking to girls and boys, and then maybe you weren't. Or maybe you were a little less nervous. You are never any solid thing. You are an ever-changing, constantly evolving, impermanent, non-thing. So instead of getting caught up in a world of "this is how I am," let's look at a few ways to escape and reopen the door of possibility for your business, for your relationships, and for your life. Question 1. What do I get by staying how I am? Often we think of these rules or laws that we paint on ourselves as being negative. But the truth is that you always get something from being how you are. If you didn't get something, you wouldn't stay that way. People standing outside on a hot day with the option of air conditioning will usually go inside. They stay outside if there's something to watch or something to do, if there's a parade or a show or if there's fireworks. So if you're staying a particular way, if you're defining "this is how I am," you must get something from it. You may not know exactly what that thing is that you get, or at least what it is you think you get from staying how you are. So before you decide to stay exactly how you are, understand exactly what you get from it. And then you can decide, is this a good way to get the thing that I want? Question 2. What if you could keep getting this thing that you love, this benefit, without being the way that you are? Think about all the people in your life, the people who achieve amazing things. Think about someone else you know who's created this thing that you love. Maybe it's safety or security or simplicity or success or money or fame. Can you think of one person who's been able to achieve a thing that you want to achieve, or a thing that you have achieved that's different from you? If you can't think of anyone, and I'd be amazed if you couldn't, but if you really can't think of anyone, think about every human being in the whole world. Do you think that it's at least possible there might be one person in this whole world who gets the thing that you want, or who has achieved the thing that you have achieved without being exactly the way you are? Don't worry about how they get it. Just ask the question, is there one person in the whole world who is able to create this thing that I want to create, or that I have achieved, without being the way I'm attached to being? If the answer is yes, then you have to admit that there is at least a possibility for you to be different and still get what you want, still achieve the same results in your life. And if that possibility exists, then it's possible for you to discover that way too. Question number 3. If you were able to break the laws of yourself, the laws of physics, if it were possible for you to get what you want and change and be different, what would that mean for you? What would you become able to do? Don't worry about whether or not you would want to be able to do the thing you would become able to do. Just worry about what you would be able to do. For example, I had a client one time that really struggled to hire good staff. He struggled and struggled and struggled, and he always said, it's really hard to hire good staff. It's so difficult to find people. They just want money, and the economy is really difficult. He had a million reasons of why he couldn't hire someone that could do the job well. He had a million reasons why he couldn't hire someone who was amazing. And so I asked him a simple question. What would change for you if this became possible? And he realized everything would change for him. If that was possible, he could have a staff that he loved and supported. He could relax in his business. He could start to enjoy the process of managing. So think about what would be possible if you could break the rules of yourself, even break the laws of physics, and change the way you see the world. Because as you start to see what the results of that would be, you start to become more motivated to think about all the ways in which this could happen, instead of thinking about all the ways in which it can't. Last, but certainly not least, I want you to ask the question, how would you behave differently if it was possible to create this change in yourself and in the world? What might you do differently? What might you try? What could you experiment with? Setting aside whether you know if this will work or not, or anything else, what could you try? What would you do if this way of being was possible? In this last example that I used, this client could start treating his employees as if they were the right employees. He could start nurturing them. He could get excited about management. He could relax around business. And as he was able to see all these possibilities, he began telling himself that it was possible to hire amazing people. Not only that it was possible, but that actually he had already done it. He had already hired amazing people. People who were amazing but just needed to be nurtured in the right way to realize what was possible. And just that one small change in attitude changed the way he felt about his business, and also changed the way he showed up as a manager. If you feel, man, I wish I could trust my team, then start by trusting your team. Take the actions of someone who trusted their team. If you thought, I wish I could create something of value. It'd be really cool if I could create something of value that could make money for myself without it having to be insincere. Wouldn't that be cool? Then try that. See what it's like to create something of value that's also sincere. What would one action be? There's a place where all possibility goes to die, and the gate to this place reads, "This is how I am." You are not a solid object. You are not the laws of physics. What makes human beings so amazing is the endless flexibility, the endless possibility that they can create every day of their lives. That's why our economy is so vibrant. That's why we have so much amazing art. That's why love takes on so many different forms. Stop living in the land of "this is how I am," and instead live in the land of "I wonder what would happen if."